Beautiful. Oh, shucks. Oh, okay. Now I need to go here. Thought I had this already ready. Sorry. Where's this thing? I need that. 3.6 homework. You got to minimize. You got to go here, here, and enter. That'll work. Yeah, I'm thinking too much. Some of you cats are doing this. It's not wrong, but if you do it wrong, you're going to get dinged on the test. Some of you cats are, when it asks for A, B, and D, you're going H of theta. Well, some of you didn't do H of theta equals. So if you don't do that, you're going to get wrong. But all they want is A, B, and D. So this is all you need. Don't put it back into the equation unless it specifically says put it back in the equation. Again, it's not wrong if you put it back in the equation. I think they will give you credit. But if you put it back in the equation incorrectly, they're going to ding you because it's not right. And so if you don't put that part of it, they're going to ding you. Okay with all that? So just be aware of those type of things. If it says find the values of A, B, and D, that's all we need. That's all we need is A, B, and D. Okay with that? Some of you guys are doing a little too much. I put a comment on your papers if I noticed it. Okay, I just put a comment. I like that answer better. Truthfully, I would like for it to say find the equation of this function or something like that. But that's not what it says. It just wants to know what A, B, and D are. Good enough with that? Okay. I just noticed that on some papers. Anything about that assignment that you guys are confused about? Shifting left, right, up, down. Like I said, these are a little difficult in the fact of there's so many ways to do this. I look at the function and figure out one of two things. Are you starting at a max or a min, or are you starting at midline? And if you're starting at the midline, we're going to use sine. And if we're starting at a max or a min, we're going to use cosine. And if we're starting at a min, we're going to actually use negative cosine. If we're starting at a max, we're going to use positive cosine. And if we're starting at the midline and going up, we'll use sine. And if we're starting in the midline and going down, we'll use negative sine. And all four of those are perfectly acceptable. I was talking to some teachers. Well, I wasn't talking to them. Some post said, hey, how do you get your, I can't get my kids to understand like which equation's correct. And there's not a correct one. There's many correct ones. But a lot of them, I'd say a lot of them, a couple of them said, I have my students write each one of these 4 ways. And that's basically with a positive sign and a negative sign, and then a positive cosine and a negative cosine. Not a sign as in S-I-G-N, S-I-N. And so, because I can write that 4 different ways. I can use sine by starting right here. I guess I could start right here. It'd be better to start right here. But you can start right here. This shifts it left to right. That changes a C. This one didn't have a C. So we need to start here. Okay? But I can use sine by starting right here. I can use cosine by starting right here. I can use negative sine by starting right here. And I can use negative cosine by starting down here. And all 4 of those are perfectly acceptable. Okay? So you have to look to see which one do they want. Do they want sine or cosine? If they want sine, then you got to start at the midline. Typically, they want the positive. But it's not wrong to do a negative. Just remember that the amplitude is never negative. A can be negative. The amplitude is not. So that's why I don't really like for them to say that that's the amplitude, because it could be negative. Y'all okay with all that stuff? I mean, I don't think there was anything on there to get you. I think most of that was just practice. Multiple choices. When you see multiple choices on homeworks, that's typically a hint that there's going to be like that, like that's a multiple choice question on the test. If you don't see it multiple choice, that's something we could ask as a non-multiple choice question. You know, with all that stuff. A lot of times the non-multiple choice, though, is getting you, just make sure you know it, as opposed to having to guess. Okay. Do note, right, and I told you, right, there's 4 different ways to write that. So there's 4 different ways to write these. Well, this is the other way around. But only one of the answers will be correct. They're not going to have 2 possible answers. Only one of the answers will be correct if it's multiple choice. All right. Any questions about anything? We're going to do 3-7. We'll do 3-7, and then we'll take a quiz. 3-7 is pretty short. 3-7 is pretty short. In fact, I'm scared that you might get bored and not have anything to do for the next, what's Friday? Friday A again? We're A. So Friday's A, but don't forget you flip the 6 and the 2. So 2 is on Thursday. So your second hour is on Thursday. And then we'll do flex on Friday. Don't forget that. Okay. Anything about this? Anything from prior to this? I got my classroom set up now to where you should upload stuff. So you should not be confused of what you should have uploaded. 3-2, 3-3. Some of you guys got some 3-2s on 3-3s and vice versa. And just I'm not saying get in the right spot, but get them uploaded. They need to be in the right spot, but get them uploaded. Don't forget the unit circle. Most of you guys have done that. Some of you guys still have not. It's the link that's on Google Classroom. Go to that link and fill out the unit circle. Take a screenshot of it and send it. And don't forget the Delta Math. Some of you guys have done it and some of you haven't. That Delta Math is an assignment. Okay? I think that's all we have going on. If you got any questions about that kind of stuff, make sure you know. I've done a pretty good job of keeping up with what I need to keep up with you guys, grade-wise. Pretty good job. Quizzes have been graded and turned in of those grades. If you want to see those, come by anytime and see those. If you want to retake, make sure you retake. Remember now, we're going to take a quiz today, and we're going to take a quiz next Wednesday, and we're taking a test Friday. So retests are going to be tough, especially next Wednesday. Like, that's almost going to be impossible. Yep. I don't know. Yeah, it's AA because we don't have school Monday. I was wondering why we were going so darn fast, because we're done today, but I knew we had 2 days review, so that would be Friday, Wednesday. Okay, with all that, good. All right. We haven't talked a lot about the unit circle stuff, right? Don't forget that's stuff that you've got to know. You've got to know the unit circle. I keep saying that. We haven't used it a whole lot, but we will. And it's on the test. And it's on the non-calculator portion of the test. It will be on the quiz today. Today's quiz is non-calculator. It's a non-calculator. Can't use it. And some of the unit circles on that. Okay. All right. 3-7. Nobody's got questions. Here we go. Let me put this here. I think I got to do this again. Enter. There we go. Go away. Make big. Make big. Okay. 3-7. 3-7. Sinusoidal functions, context, and data modeling. This is one of those, not necessarily do you know how to do it, but it's more of do you know what to do and why you did it. Maybe what you did. This is not necessarily answers as opposed to explaining. Okay? So it's kind of putting all this stuff, a lot of this stuff together. In previous units, we have looked at different methods to construct various functions. Different units, unit 1, unit 2. We've looked at exponential functions. We've looked at logarithmic functions. We've looked at polynomial functions. We've looked at quadratics even. Maybe we've looked at a couple of linears. Now we're going to apply those same techniques to create function models for sinusoidal. Okay? We've already seen that a sinusoidal function can be written in the form of f of theta is equal to a sine b theta plus cd. And our big question is, what is a, what is b, what is c, and what is d? Or a similar form with cosine. So it may be cosine instead of sine. To construct a model, we're going to need to connect information that's given verbally, graphically, numerically, and algebraically to the properties of sinusoidal functions. So, verbally, graphically, numerically, algebraically. They could give you any one of these things, and again, we kind of have to put all that together. Graphical information. Graphical information. Example, number 1. So let f be a sinusoidal function. Wow, I'm glad it's a sinusoidal function. I guess technically it could be a polynomial, but very seldom do polynomials do the exact same thing over. Most time polynomials, they can kind of look like this, but one of them will be higher or lower than the other, and one, right? This is sinusoidal, meaning it repeats, it has periods. Let f be a sinusoidal function. The graph of y equals f of x is given in the xy plane, and all it wants to know is the period. All it wants to know is the period. Not the max of the period, not the max of the function. It just wants to know the period. So wherever you start, I don't care. Wherever you start. I like to try to start at 0. Because I don't worry about negatives. I like to kind of try to start at 0. And then how long does it take till I get repeated? I'm going up, I'm going up, I'm going down, I'm going down, I'm going down. So I'm going to right there. So the period is 2. But it doesn't matter if you want to start right here and go right here. That distance is 2. If you want to start up here and go to here, that distance is 2. It's -1/2 and +0.5. If I want to start down here and go to here, if I want to start right here and go to wherever you want to start and end, it doesn't matter. I like to start at 0, then I don't have to worry about any subtractions, divisions, anything else. So the period is definitely not 1. The period is 2. It's definitely not 4. It could be 4, I guess, but it's not. It's the smallest number, and it's not 8. Good enough for that. I don't think you needed me to answer that question today. I hope. Let G be a sinusoidal function. Oh, golly. G of x is cosine 2 x plus c -1. The graph of g of x is given in the xy plane. Which of the following could represent c? So, excuse me. I know it's cosine, and it's not a negative cosine. So if it's cosine, I got to start at a max. If it's cosine, you start at a max. You could start at a min, but that's not a negative. So if it's not a negative, you're not going to start at a min. You're going to start at a max. Here's a max. Uh-oh, need a pencil. Here's a max, and there's a max. Both of those are maxes. That's the period, right? I could have started right here and went to right here to see the period. The period is pi. You should have known the period is pi because this is 2. And remember, it's 2 pi over that is equal to the period over b. 2 pi over b is equal to the period. We should have known that already. That's not part of this question, but it's just something you should know. The -1 moved the whole thing down 1 unit. Again, that's not something that you need to know for this question, but it's something you need to know. So we're down 1. They're just asking for that constant C. And you're kind of lucky in this fact of, I don't like this, because you can maybe not know and still get it right. Because C, if you want to start here, C is positive pi over 2. C is positive pi over 2 because it's to the left. But if you want to start right here, C is negative pi over 2. Luckily, we don't have a choice of negative pi over 2 or pi over 2. Because if they did, we wouldn't know which one is correct. They only have pi over 2 as my starting point. Pi over 2 is my starting point for that particular one. 0 is down here. That would be a negative cosine. That would be a negative cosine. That means it's not shifted. Okay? Pi over 4 is right here. That's a sine, because that's a midline. That's a sine because it's a midline. It would be positive sine. And then pi is way over here. That's down here. That's the same as this one, and that's the negative cosine. Anytime you start at the bottom, it's cosine negative. You start at the top, cosine positive. Good enough? Yippee, yippee, yo. Beautiful. 3.7. What the heck? Verbal information. Verbal information. This is kind of stuff that you're going to see on the free response on your test the next Friday. Okay? We've kind of done stuff already like this. Here we go. We got the start down here. I don't know why they're starting down here, but they're starting down here. And it's going that way, so counterclockwise. A yo-yo is attached to a 30-inch long string. Must be right there is the center of my yo-yo, because that's, because this is 30, and that is 30, and this is 30, and that is 30. So the radius of this circle is 30. Diameter is 60. I don't think I need that. The figure provides a representation of a yo-yo in the XY plane with the direction of the rotation indicated. At time equals 0 seconds, the yo-yo begins to rotate. The yo-yo is at the start position in the figure. At time equals 5 seconds, the yo-yo has completed 20 rotations. Holy cow, that yo-yo's getting it. Every 5 seconds, I'm going 20 rotations. That's kind of nice because every 1 second, I'm going 4 rotations. Right? 5 over 20, 1 over 4. The same position it was at time is equal to 0. A sinusoidal function is used to model the x-coordinate of the position of the yo-yo as a function of time. Which of the following functions is an appropriate model for this situation? Me and the team made the test yesterday. This is a really good question. Except this one's multiple choice. Hint. Sine, 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 sine. There's sines. I don't have to worry about cosines. So I got to start at the midline. Got to start at the midline. And I don't think that's the midline. I think that's a minimum. I think that's a midline. That's the maximum. That's the midline. So I don't know, I mean, there's about 16 different ways to do this, and I don't know how your mind works. I want to just kind of start thinking about how I might do this. I know in 5 seconds I've done 20 rotations, and so therefore, as we've done 1 second, We have done 4 rotations. And if you want to do 5 seconds and 20, that's fine. But I think 1 second and 4 is just as easy, if not easier. So in 1 second, I've gone around this thing 4 times. That must mean 1/4 of a second I'm there. This is kind of getting weird, but that's okay. Okay with all that? Good. So that's the starting point, if you want to. Starting point. I can start here or I can start here, but I like to start here. Go up. Yes? Would you be back to the start in the 4th or 2nd? I would. Yes, I would be back at the start at 1/4 of a second. So, a 16th of a second. $30, T over 4, 4T, pi T 2, 8 pi T. Bless. I wasn't getting anywhere where I was going. Both equations work. Yes, same ones. This one over here, I'm finding B. This one over here, I know B. This one, I'm finding the period. This one, I'm finding B. This one, I know the period. This one, I know B. Either one of those work because all you got to do is flip-flop these two. Multiply both sides by B, divide both sides by P. If I multiply by B, divide by P, I get that. If I multiply by P and divide by B, I get this. So either one of those work. I know the period. Yes? 4 seconds? 1/4 of a second? 1/4 of a second. 1/4 of a second to go all the way around for one period. 1/4 to go all the way around for a period. So this is 1/4. If this is 1/4 and I flip and multiply that thing, I end up with 8p. Or 8 pi. Sorry, not 8p. Okay, flip and multiply. You'll kind of see how I was kind of walking through this whole thing. I told you I kind of come into this blind deal. I don't look at this stuff prior to. I don't. I want you guys to see it at the same time I see it. Because I want to know how you guys think, and I want you guys to know how I think. And I started doing all this stuff over here, and I really didn't need that because I knew this had to be 30 because that's the only choice I got. 30, that's the amplitude. Going up to 30 and down to 30. Here's 0, up to 30, down to 30. So that's the only choice I got. All of them are sine. So really, the only thing I really needed to find was B. So I'll go over here and say, if I need to find B, I know that B is 2 pi over the period. And I had to figure out what the period was. And the period took a little bit of work. 5 times in 5 seconds, I've gone around 20 times. So in 1 second, I've gone around 4 times. So in 1/4 of a second, I've gone around once. 1/4 of a second, I've gone around once. So the period is 1/4. And if I take 2 pi and divide it by 1/4, and I flip and multiply it, that becomes 8 pi. Oh, no picture. This one I like even better. A clock is mounted on the wall, and the point P is located at the tip of the minute hand of the clock. Luckily, we've seen a picture like this, so I can maybe visualize this. The function h represents the height of P from the ground, where the height of the point is a sine bt plus c plus d. H of 0 is 70. H of 30 is 52. Represents a maximum value and a minimum value, respectively, on the graph of H. So at 0 time, I'm at 70. Represents a maximum. Represents a max. And how do I know that that one's the max and that one's the min? Because this one's 70 and that one's 52. And it's hard for the 52 to be the max and 70 to be the min. And the min is 30, 52. The min is 30, 52. And so the next max must be at 60, 70. If this is from here to here, 30, then I got to go 30 more to get back to the max. And the max is on the same parallel, so that has to be 70. And I could just keep on going if I wanted to. I don't know if I need to. I don't know if I needed that. What are the values of A and D? All they want are A and D. They don't care about C. They don't care about B. All they want is A and D. And A is the amplitude. From the midline to the max. I will get some students that go from 70 to 52. Hit me. Find the average? Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's 29 different ways to do that, but whatever you got to do to realize that this is the midline, and it's from the midline to the max or midline to the min. Or this is 52 down here, and this is 70 up here, which gives me 4, 5, 6, 7, is that 18? Divided by 2, don't put 18. Now, some of you cats will put 18. 18 is from the max to the min, that's not the amplitude. The amplitude is from the midline to the max or midline to the min, which is 9. Half the 18. Whatever you got to do. Do you need to show work for that? Probably not. If you do, guess what? It helps. It helps. Doesn't hurt. How about that? It for sure doesn't hurt. Do I need to do that? I don't think so. And then D is what? D is that horizontal shift. And so that's the horizontal shift of how this graph is moved up or down. And if the max is 70 and the min is 52, then it has to be 9 between that, which puts me at what, 61? Up 61 units. So D must be 61. And if you want to do 52 plus 9, or if you want to do 70 minus 9, or you don't have to do anything, whatever you got to do to remember that D is at midline. And that midline is halfway between the max and the min. Good enough with all that stuff. You got to be able to dissect from the reading to a graph. And whatever you guys got to do that. Some of you need to see a picture. Some of you don't need. I don't know. It's harder. I feel better if you see the picture. But some of you guys will be okay without it. Analytical. So we did graphically. We've done verbally. Now we're doing analytically. I don't know which one you're going to get on the test. Well, yeah, I do, because we made it yesterday. The average monthly temperature in degrees Fahrenheit from a town in central Indiana can be modeled by a sinusoidal function. Holy cow. This one, my guess would be a calculator question. It's already looking like. You got 25.7. You got pi over 6. You got m. M is the month. It tells me right there. Minus 4. So this thing shifted 4. Positive. Positive 61.2. Yuck. Based on the model, which of the following is true? I hate these questions. Which is true? They do this a lot in stats, except in stats they do which one's false, which is really bad because a lot of times the first one's true and we've written that's the one we circle. We think we're looking for the true one. The maximum average monthly temperature is 61.2. I don't think the max is going to be 61.2 because 61.2 is the midline. It's the shifted up. So I don't even know what anything this looks like, but we know that 61.2 is where this thing moved up to, and that's my midline, and there's no way that could be a max. Sometimes I don't know which one's true. I might want to know which ones are false. The maximum occurs at 1. I'm not going to look at that one yet. I don't know. The minimum is 35.5. I don't know that yet. The minimum average is at 7 months. I don't know if I know that. I know 1 is wrong. Make it easy. Maybe. Are you going to turn on? There it comes. Who knows what your graphs have done this last time we've used these stupid calculators. I've got an equation here, linear. I've got an equation here, quadratic, and I've got a plot on. I'd for sure turn your plot off. Oops, I didn't do it. Now it's off. I want this off. Gone. Clear. I want this gone. Clear. And there's no telling. You may have someone that there's some more down here. Just be careful. There's not. I'm clear. Okay. You got to know how to do these calculators. You got to know how to use Desmos, something. Desmos is lucky because every time you turn on Desmos, it's clear. Like it starts off brand new. Your TI remembers what you did the other day. There's no telling what mine's going to look like. When I hit graph, there's no telling what my XY stuff looks like. What was that number? 25 point something? That's pretty good. I got that close. Sine? Make sure I'm in radians. I'm in radians. Okay. What is it? I got a Princey. Do I need 2 Princeys? Nope. Pi 6. So this one, yours says T or something, right? Or M, right? So that's where I'll just put an X. And minus a 4. Close that parentheses and close that parentheses. And then I got plus something. Good enough? And if I hit graph, there's no telling what mine's going to look like. Yeah. I don't see anything. Hopefully you guys know why. This thing shifted up how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I ain't going to see it. I ain't going to see it. So manually figure it. Zoom fit, I don't know. You gotta start messing with this thing. Window, there's no telling what mine looks like. Look at my X min is negative 400, and that's probably too much. I don't know. That might be too much. May not be enough. I don't know. That's the scale. That's what your tick marks are going by. It really doesn't matter. Doesn't change anything. Oh, X. That was stupid. I'll just leave it like that. Yes. Oh, it said M went from 1 to 12. Yeah? I like to do a little extra. That way I can make sure I see my endpoints. I don't need that to go by 20s now. Yay? I sure don't want negative 10. 50? I don't know. You gotta go lower than 50? Because you've already done this. So how much? 25? Okay. If I did 50, what I'm going to see when I graph it, I'm not going to see the bottom. Fair enough? So if I don't see the bottom, I need to make it lower. I'll go ahead and do it really quickly. 50, max, 100. I don't know. We're just shooting at the dark here, right? We know we got to get to 61.5. We know we got to get that covered. And so, again, this won't matter what you put here. And X-res, who cares? You don't care. You don't care. Graph. See, I'm missing the mins. I'm missing the mins. So I know I got to go lower. I'm okay with the 100 max. I just got to get min lower. So go back to your window. Let's change my min. 25 covered it. And if you don't want to do 25, you can do 0. It doesn't matter. As long as you see it. As long as you see it. Beautiful. And hopefully you guys can recognize the 13 and the 0 and the 13, because I went a little bit extra. Right? I went a little bit extra. Second, don't ever use trace. I wish trace was not a button on these stupid things. Calculate, hit second trace. Max or min, we know the midpoint, so I would do the max or do the min. I'm going to do the max first, 4. I'm already to the left of it. Left. I got to go to the right of it or type a number in. It's easier to type a number in than move it. Yay. As long as that thing captures it, you're good. It says guess. I don't guess. I hit enter. 7 is when the max occurs. And the max is at 86.9. What was theirs? What did they ask? Like, when does the max occur? Or, yep. Do we need to use our calculators if we already know the midline? Probably not. And we had that already, right? We had the midline and the amplitude already, so you should have known that without the calculator. I'm just making sure you guys know how to use a calculator because I've seen the calculator question. Fair? You cannot. I don't think you can use it without a calculator. I think you've got to have a calculator. I think. But, and I love that right there, right? You know the midline, you know the amplitude, so we already know the max. We already know the min. Maybe you may not know where it happened. Maybe you should. It's at 7, though. Okay with all that? Let's go back to my picture. It's a cosine, right? Cosine. So cosine starts at the min. It's a sine. It's cosine. Sine starts at the midline. Sine starts at the midline. So we started at 1, I hope. I'm assuming we started at 1 for the midline, but then I had to move it 4 units to the right. So now we're at 5 is the midline. Then you got to do 2 pi over 6. 12 pi. Whew, I don't know. It got confusing on me. You can do this without a calculator. You can do it without a calculator. I wanted to make sure you knew how to do it with a calculator also. Click. Which one we got? What's the answer? C. The minimum. 61.2 minus 25.7. The minimum. Good enough. What the maximum is at the first month? No, the maximum was at the 7th month. The minimum is at the 7th. No, that was the maximum at the 7th month. Okay. Yuck. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 11. That's not consistent at all. That's not consistent at all. This one, you're going to have to use your calculator. Uh-oh, not that button. Stat. Edit. Whatever the top list was, whatever the bottom list was. I can put them in there. How many of them are there? Doesn't matter. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12. Uh-oh. I swear I'm going to break this thing. Let me see. 5, 6.2. 6.5. 11.3. Good enough? It's in there until you decide to delete it. Stat. Don't want to edit it. We already got it in there. I sure don't want to sort it because that's going to mess things up. Calc. I don't care about the variable stats, and I don't care about the variable stats, and I don't even know what that still is. It's not a linear regression. It's not a quadratic regression. It's not a cubic regression. It's not a quartic regression. It's not a linear regression. It's not a natural log. It's not a power. It's not a log. Oh! Well, cuss. That bad boy's way down there. Sine reg. Sine reg. Iterations. Who cares? Put 2,000 in it. Don't put anything. Just leave it. Just leave it whatever it says. I forget what it says. Yep. It says 60. Oh, did it tell you to do that? Oh, okay. Do what it tells you to do. So it says do 60? 16? I forget what that does. That changes up like something, obviously. I don't know if it changes your answer if you have a different number there. X list comes from L1. My Y list comes from L2. You got to know how to change all that stuff around if you put it somewhere different. The period. Store it. I always store it. Alpha trace y1. Alpha trace puts it in y1. I don't think I need period. I think it's going to work. Yeah. Took a little while. There's A value, there's the B value, there's the C value, there's the D value. This is the one that's going to get you, though. Be careful. It's not shifted to the left 0.92 because that's already been multiplied by the B. Fair enough with what I'm saying on that, right? That B's not factored out. I don't think you'll need it, but just that's one of those instances where just be careful. Just be careful. What's their question? The max? D plus A. D moves the whole thing up 8 units. That's the midline. We fluctuate between 3.1 away from the midline. And so midline plus that. Yay? If you got really desperate, I don't know. This is the first time I've done this. VARs. Why VARs? That was a function. Nope. Must not done it. Oh, statistics. Nope. Equation. Yeah. If you got really low, late, I finally, you could do D plus A. D plus, that's under VARs, and you go over to, or you go down to statistics, and we go over to the equation, EQ, and there's A. Huh. You guys get bonus stuff. There's no other teacher. Other teachers don't know this stuff. This guy's big enough nerd. He knows about this stuff. I wasn't sure, but I thought it did. What else you got? Y'all good? Y'all bored? Ready for the test? Whoop, whoop. Was that the last? That was the last one, right? Any other questions about that? On the test, you're going to have to do one of these. I promise you. You're going to have to do one of these on the test, okay? You may have to plug and chug some numbers in there. So you'll have some worksheet questions about that kind of stuff. Just please make sure you know how to use your calculator or how to use Desmos, one of the two, right?